Charan, or you haven't?
Yes, Prabhuji, we are done.
We have done, okay. So last time we read about a lot of books which have been written by the Goswamis, and let me just come to my here now Madhya 1. Anyone remember which verse we stopped?
42 we stopped, Prabhuji. 43 we need to
42.
stop.
All right. So in 41, we see how Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is describing Laghu Bhagavatamrit Adi Ke Karu Ganan Sarvatra Karila Braja Vilasa Varnan. Who can count the rest of the books headed by Laghu Bhagavatamrita, written by Srila Rupa Goswami? He has described the pastimes of Vrindavan in all of them. And then we have a very long purport about the various books written by the Goswamis. So we will touch upon this theme again and again. No need to memorize it or whatever. So basically, Mahaprabhu gave 4 distinct tasks to his Goswami disciples. Goswami means one who has controlled his senses. Go means senses, and Swami means one who has learned the art of controlling them. The understanding is that only with controlled senses you can serve Krishna. The Buddhist philosophy is to make your senses zero so that they don't trouble you. The Vaishnava philosophy is to use these senses in the service of the owner of the senses. This is very important. The Buddhists are not wrong, or they are not offensive, or they are not kind of off the track. When they say that this world is not for our enjoyment, correct, we agree with them. When they say that the senses will deceive us, we agree with them. When they say that life is transitory, ephemeral, it is not eternal, we agree with them. But when they say that there is no soul, there is no super soul, there is no spiritual world, you just stay in a place where you are just having no relationships, because relationships means problems, disagreements. So Vaishnava philosophy says, so what if there are disagreements? You may say, really? Oh yeah. Like the gopis want to serve Krishna by making various flower garlands. Now there are unlimited colors of flowers. There will be unlimited combinations. And you and me are bound to think differently. Like if, a very humorous example Prabhupada gave, there are 4 sons and they are massaging their father's body. So one has got the right hand, one the left hand, one the right leg, one the left leg. And if it is a happy happy family, they're all doing their respective duties. They're happy with the service which they have. What if there is a disagreement and one brother tells other, I am better than you because I have the right hand. No, I am better than you. And to show the disagreement, this boy, he punches the body of his father. I told you, I am more important. I am senior. My job is the best. So after some time, the father says, hey, stop. You're having disagreements among you, but you are hurting me. Please try to understand that. So the desire to make everything variety less, zero, that is considered a flaw in a philosophy. And Vaishnava philosophy, although it is tough, although it is difficult, we try to keep this thing of unity in diversity. So, Swami means the controller, master of senses. Goswami means somebody who has learned that art. And the four things which Mahaprabhu told his Goswamis: first of all, tell people where these various places of Krishna's pastimes are located. You do some excavation. That is not just done with tools, but also with your purified heart. So therefore, they all, with the exception of one, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, they all established temples. Secondly, the Vedas are like an ocean of literature. What is the essence of them? Is there any common thread? Is there something which can be called as the summary of Vedic wisdom? So Vaishnavacharyas say that bhakti, a superb, loving relationship with Krishna, is the goal of all Vedic literature. So Mahaprabhu said, then you write books and explain people how that thing can be understood. That is task number 2. Task number 3, oh, somebody has devotion in his heart, somebody is a very learned person. What are the symptoms? How can that be known? So you write about what is the exemplary standard by which a bhakta or a devotee can be understood. And 4, you write about what is proper etiquette with regards to time, place, circumstances. There could be so many adjustments can be done. So this is what, and now we are reading about the various books they wrote. I'll be very honest. I just read the list of the books and I feel happy. That's all. I'm sure I must not have read at least 98% of these books. And in one way, they are not necessary also. You may say, hey, how is that you are saying these are such glorious books and you haven't read 98% of them? What happened is, some of these books are simply lost. There are no copies available. Some are available, but they are way beyond your and my understanding. So Prabhupada, what he has done is, he gave us 4 books. Now, at least these we must be knowing in a very familiar way. And that is Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Nectar of Devotion, and Chaitanya Charitamrta. Now, Bhagavad Gita is okay, 700 verses. Bhagavatam is 18,000 verses. Chaitanya Charitamrta is again 9,000 to 10,000 verses. So, just yesterday I was hearing some history of ISKCON. Very interesting. 1965, Prabhupada leaves for America. Till 1966, he struggles there, 1 year of struggle. 66, he incorporates his small society in New York. 67, he comes back to India because he has some health issues. By now, he has some students with him and he plans to come back. 70, again he came back. But 1968 was the time that ISKCON actually began to blossom, to like open up. And then in 70 he came, he had fully trained disciples according to that particular time period. And then he started writing his books. So the 10th canto is the main part of Srimad Bhagavatam. And Prabhupada feared he might not live long to give the whole thing. So he worked on the Krishna book and he gave 90 chapters, each chapter being a narrative summary of the 10th canto. Like each chapter is a story And Prabhupada gave that as a narrative form, a summary study. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion, one of the major books of Rupa Goswami. He gave that as an English book. Chaitanya Charitamrita, what we are reading now, basically has 5 dialogues as its core essence. Prabhupada gave that as the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Krishna book, teaching of Lord Chaitanya, Nectar of Devotion, add Ishopanishad, and then the Bhagavad Gita. This is good enough as a solid foundation of understanding Vaishnava literature. And when Prabhupada was writing these books, he was managing a society. He was working 18 to 20 hours a day while this was going on. That itself is amazing. So I'll start reading from text 43. This is Madhya Lila, chapter 1, the later pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Text 43, Shri Bhagavad Sandarbhanam Grantha Vistar Bhakti Siddhante Ratate Dekhiya Chenpar. In Shri Bhagavad Sandarbha, Srila Jiva Goswami has written conclusively about the ultimate end of devotional service. So what exactly is that? Prabhupada is explaining the purport. The Bhagavad Sandarbha is also known as Shat Sandarbha. Shat means 6. In the first part called Tattva Sandarbha, it is proved that Srimad Bhagavatam is the most authoritative evidence directly pointing to the absolute truth. There is some technical problem with me here. Okay. The second Sandarbha called Bhagavad Sandarbha draws a distinction between impersonal Brahman and localized Paramatma and describes the spiritual world and the domination of the modes of good of the mode of goodness devoid of contamination by the other 2 material modes. In other words, there is a vivid description of the transcendental position known as Shuddha Sattva. Material goodness is apt to be contaminated by the other 2 material qualities, ignorance and passion. But when one is situated in the Shuddha Sattva position, there is no chance for such contamination. It is a spiritual platform of pure goodness. The potency of the Supreme Lord and the living entity is also described. And there is a description of the inconceivable energies and varieties of energies of the Lord. The potencies are divided into categories: internal, external, personal, marginal, and so forth. There are also discussions of the eternality of deity worship, the omnipotence of the deity, his all-pervasiveness, his giving shelter to everyone, his subtle and gross potencies, his personal manifestations, his expressions of form, quality, and pastimes, his transcendental position and his complete form. It is also stated that everything pertaining to the Absolute has the same potency, and that the spiritual world, the associates in the spiritual world, and the threefold energies of the Lord in the spiritual world are all transcendent. There are further discussions concerning the difference between the impersonal Brahman and the personality of Godhead, the fullness of the personality of Godhead, the objective of all Vedic knowledge, the personal potencies of the Lord, and the personality of Godhead as the original author of Vedic knowledge. So there are 6 books. We have discussed 2. We come to the third one now. The third Sandarbha is called Paramatma Sandarbha. And in this book, there is a description of Paramatma, the super soul, and an explanation of how the super soul exists in millions and millions of living entities. There are discussions of the differences between the qualitative incarnations and discourses concerning the living entities, Maya, the material world, the theory of transformation, the illusory energy, the sameness of this world and the super soul, and the truth about this material world. In this connection, the opinions of Sridhar Swami are given. Sridhar Swami was an ancient commentator on the Srimad Bhagavatam, and his commentary, although there are many, many before, but they are all lost. So his is the one His is the one which was discovered, and Mahaprabhu accepted that as completely authoritative. It is stated that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although devoid of material qualities, superintends all material activities. There is also a discussion of how the Lila Avatar incarnations respond to the desires of the devotees and how the Supreme Personality of Godhead is characterized by 6 opulences. The 4th Sandarbha is called Krishna Sandarbha. And in this book, Krishna is proved to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are discussions of Krishna's pastimes and qualities, his superintendence of the Purusha avatars, and so forth. The opinions of Sridhar Swami are corroborated. Again, we have Sridhar Swami coming here. In each and every scripture, the supremacy of Krishna is stressed. Baladeva, Sankarshan, and other expansions of Krishna are emanations of Mahasankarshan. All the incarnations and expansions exist simultaneously in the body of Krishna, who is described as two-handed. There are also descriptions of the Goloka planet, Vrindavan, the eternal place of Krishna. The identity of Goloka and Vrindavan, the Yadavas and the coward boys, both eternal associates of Krishna. The equality of the manifest and unmanifest pastimes. Shri Krishna's manifestation in Gokul, the queens of Dwarka as expansions of the eternal potency, and superior to them, the super excellent gopis. There is also a list of the gopis' names and a discussion of the topmost position of Srimati Radharani. The 5th Sandarbha is called Bhakti Sandarbha. And in this book, there is a discussion of how devotion service can be directly executed, how such service can be adjusted, either directly or indirectly. There is a discussion of the knowledge of all kinds of scripture, the establishment of the Vedic institution of Varnashram, bhakti as superior to fruitive activity, and so forth. It is also stated that without devotion service, even a Brahmana is condemned. There are discussions of the process of karma tyaga, the giving of the results of karma to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the practices of mystic yoga and philosophical speculation, which are deprecated as simply hard labor. Worship of the demigods is discouraged, and worship of a Vaishnava is considered exalted. No respect is given to the non-devotees. There are discussions of how one can be liberated even in this life, Jivan Mukta, Lord Shiva as a devotee, and how a bhakta and his devotion service are eternally existing. It is stated that through bhakti one can attain all success because bhakti is transcendental to the material qualities. There is a discussion of how the self is manifest through bhakti. There is also a discussion of the self's bliss, as well as how bhakti, even imperfectly executed, enables one to attain the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Unmotivated devotion service is highly praised, and an explanation is given of how each devotee can achieve the platform of unmotivated service by association with other devotees. There is a discussion of the differences between the Mahabhagavat and the ordinary devotee, the symptoms of philosophical speculation, the symptoms of self-worship or ahangrahopasana. Ahangrahopasana is something like a weird thing. A person imagines himself to be the Lord and starts worshipping himself. How you do it is a mystery, but that is there. The symptoms of devotional service, the symptoms of imaginary perfection, the acceptance of regulatory principles, service to the spiritual master, the Mahabhagavat or the liberated devotee, and service to him, service to Vaishnavas in general, the principles of hearing, chanting, remembering, and serving the lotus feet of the Lord, offenses in worship, offensive effects, prayers, engaging oneself as an eternal servant of the Lord, making friendships with the Lord and surrendering everything for his pleasure. There is also a discussion of Raganuga Bhakti, spontaneous love of Godhead, of the specific purpose of becoming a devotee of Lord Krishna, and a comparative study of other perfectional stages. The 6th Sandarbha is called Preeti Sandarbha, a thesis on love of Godhead. Here it is stated that through love of Godhead, one becomes perfectly liberated and attains the highest goal of life. A distinction is made between the liberated condition of a personalist and that of an impersonalist. And there's a discussion of liberation during one's lifetime as distinguished from liberation from material bondage. Of all kinds of liberation, liberation in loving service of the Lord is described as the most exalted. And meeting the Supreme Personality of God face to face is shown to be the highest perfection of life. Immediate liberation is contrasted with liberation by a gradual process. Both realization of Brahman and meeting with the Supreme Personality of Godhead are described as liberation within one's lifetime. But meeting with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, both internally and externally, is shown to be super excellent, above the transcendental realization of the Brahman effulgence. There is a comparative study of liberation as Salokya, Samipya, and Sarupya. Samipya is better than Salokya. Very quickly, I'll just go through them. Salokya, here Loka means the planet. You are liberated and you stay on the same planet as Krishna. Samipya, you are very closely connected with Krishna. The Salokya thing means you could be very far away, but you are on the same planet. Samipya means you are very close. Sarupya is your bodily features are very much close to that of Krishna. So Prabhupada again commented Samipya is better than Salokya. Devotional service is considered to be liberation with greater facilities, and there's a discussion of how to obtain it. There are also discussions of the transcendental state one achieves after attaining the devotional platform, which is the exact position of love of Godhead. The marginal symptoms of transcendental love, how it is awakened. The distinction between so-called love and transcendental love on the platform of love of Godhead, and different types of humors and mellows enjoyed in relation to the lusty affairs of the gopis. Now the question comes, why is the word lusty used with connection with Krishna? It is just like metal. When you say metal, iron is metal and gold is metal. But there the distinction stops. What is the value of iron compared to value of gold? So the gopis' love exactly looks like lust, but it is not so. Our lust exactly looks like love, but it is not so. That's the difference. That's where the comparison stops. Shirisha, I will take your queries after we read this paragraph.
Prabhuji, can you retell this sentence one more time? Love and lust. Just now you said, right? One more time, can you please repeat?
Yeah. The gopis' lust, the gopis' emotions, they look exactly like lust, but they are not. That is pure love. Material love, for all its external appearance, look exactly like the gopis' love, but it is not. It is just lust. And Prabhupada says, why? The moment you are dissatisfied with your lover, you want to cut off the connection. The gopis can never think like that. People say, no, there is eternal love even in this material world. Romeo, Juliet, then we have Laila, Majnu in India. And I don't think in the last 200-300 years there have been some exemplary lovers. It's mostly very mundane class of people. South India, you have any such couples? Famous? No? You people make the most of movies in India, but you don't have good lovers there. Oh yeah. So the gopis were told that if Krishna is so troubling, if memory of Krishna is so agitating your heart, why don't you forget him? They said that's a problem. Uddhava came and taught them, I'll teach you meditation, I'll teach you Hatha Yoga, and that will calm your mind, that will help you forget Krishna. So they say, all right, teach us. So he said, first of all, close your eyes. So they closed their eyes and some of them shouted, ah, so what happened? So the gopis, the girl said, if I keep my eyes open, at least sometimes I can see a tree, I can see the Yamuna river, I can see the water pot. Sometimes. But if I close my eyes, I only see Shyam Sundar, Krishna holding a flute. That's my problem. So Uddhava, please teach us how we can forget Krishna. And that time Uddhava said, am I sent here to teach them or am I sent here to learn from them? Maybe Krishna tricked me. Krishna sent me to Vrindavan superficially to teach them. But coming here, I can understand, I can only learn from them. So Uddhava made a prayer that, oh my Lord Krishna, please make me a simple blade of grass so that your exalted devotees can step on me. And then he corrected himself. No, 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 no. I don't consider myself fit to be a blade of grass in Vrindavan. Please make me a blade of grass on the outskirts of Vrindavan. I don't have a right to be inside. That is for your very special pure devotees. Better that I should be on the outskirts. So today, if you go to Vrindavan and do a parikrama, circumambulation of Govardhan Hill, as you after almost three-fourths of the whole journey has been done, you come across the place where Uddhava was praying, and there is a nice kund, there is a nice temple, and devotees consider that place very special, very, very special. Compared to its appearance, it is not very special, but the emotions there are very special. So we will read further. There are also discussions of bhakti mixed with philosophical speculation, the super excellence of the love of the gopis, the difference between opulent devotion service and loving devotion service, the exalted position of the residents of Gokula, the progressively exalted position of the friends of Krishna, the Gopas and the Gopis in parental love with Krishna, and finally the super excellence of the love of the Gopis and that of Srimati Radharani. There is also a discussion of how spiritual feelings can be present when one simply imitates them, and of how such mellows are far superior to the ordinary mellows of mundane love. And there are descriptions of different ecstasies, the awakening of ecstasy, transcendental qualities, the distinction of dhirodatta, the utmost attractiveness of conjugal love, the ecstatic features, the permanent ecstatic features, the mellows divided in 5 transcendental features of direct loving service, indirect loving service considered in 7 divisions. Finally, there is a discussion of overlapping of different rasas, and there are discussions of shanta, neutrality, servitorship, taking shelter, parental love, conjugal love, direct transcendental enjoyment and enjoyment in separation, previous attraction, and the glories of Srimati Radharani. So these are the contributions of Jiva Goswami, and we will again come to one more lengthy purport. So please bear with this. We are just reading it for our edification. I'll just take your questions and comments now. So your first thing was, life is eternal. Yes. Why did you ask that? We were discussing about Buddhist and Vaishnava philosophies and their comparison.
You said we agree, while they said life is not eternal. Vaishnava philosophers also agree that. That's why I got confused, Prabhu.
No. They say there is nothing like Atma.
Mm.
There is no soul. Life just comes. There is soil, mud, water taken together, made into a clay pot. So what is that clay pot? Why you call this clay pot? It is simply mud. It was mud before. After some time, you break that pot. Well, the mud returns to earth. So this is the Buddhist idea of a soul. A material situation causes a soul to become being, to become a living being. But if you are liberated, you merge again back. And that's considered very happy position because there are no troubles, there is no karma. So we agree that there is no trouble there, but there is no positive engagement. What we want is positive engagement. And we are meant for doing something. Otherwise, why Krishna created himself and why he created us? So this is a very big philosophical point. And Prabhupada makes it very simple. Why a person gets married? Why he wants a family? One idea is, I can give love, I can take love. And this exactly is the natural position of Vaishnava understanding. There is
But
God, Krishna. Yeah.
But Prabhuji, recently we met one friend. She's saying with the relationships only we have this happiness and distress. If we don't want relationships, that's why impersonal Brahman they like, because um, even if we see if two persons having relation, they have Sambhoga and Vipralamba also, right, Prabhu? So there is a distress. Why should we go again into that situation? She asked her. We don't have any answer.
No, correct. There are, okay, this is one Punjabi family. And in India, Punjabis are considered very boisterous and they are very stout. So one of our ISKCON sannyasis is requested to solve a typical marital problem. So he goes there and says, oh, Swamiji, please tell our daughter-in-law she left home and just to see you, she has agreed to come here. So he said, what happened? And she said, blah, 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 blah. They didn't treat me properly, whatever. Then he asked the boy, what happened? And he also said, blah, 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 blah. She always used to fight. And one day she hit me with her shoes. So he asked her, did you really? She said, yeah, but please try to understand. It is not like I want to hit him. It was just a reaction. All right. So then their maternal uncle came and the fighting couple was told to go to another room. And he told our Swamiji that 1.5 years ago, the same couple, the same boy and girl, independently met me and said, if I can't marry him, I won't be able to live. The girl said, I'll commit suicide if I'm not allowed to marry him. And the boy said, I won't marry anybody else. So you may say, what this has to do with philosophy? Oh, a lot. The initial emotion of I won't be able to live without someone is exactly what the gopis and Radharani and Yashodama and everybody feels. So here we are getting a taste of spiritual love, and that's what we like. And after some time, we say that I would be happy if this fellow dies, or I'll be happy if she's out of my life. That is a material reaction to a spiritual emotion. Because as Prabhupada says, we don't have the ability, we don't know the art of loving Krishna. So bhakti is like developing an art. It is like entering into a arts academy, like a painting academy, and you every day you paint something and you practice, and your teacher tells you this is good, this is not so good. So Buddhism or impersonalism is you accept tapasya, austerity, knowledge, then sense control. But when it comes to developing a relationship, you say, no, stop. Just teach me how this material world is miserable and I'll just go out of it. Like a patient who has a completely upset stomach, maybe with a stomach tumor or something. And if you say, would you like some pizza, pasta, some lasagna, cake, pastries, laddu, kachori, avial, appam, sambar, rice, rasam, whatever. And he said, no. Just take out this tumor and I'm happy. You may say, taking out your tumor will take out the negativity. But don't you want to enjoy a feast? Oh no. This tumor occurred because I was feasting every day. So people say there are problems because I was involved emotionally with people. And now you're telling me to get emotionally involved with Krishna. I am telling you, it will be the same disappointment. Everybody has disappointed me. My children, my husband, my wife, my relatives, my government, my boss. Now give me a state where I don't want any relationship. So Krishna grants them. Krishna is a loving father. He says, all right. So that's why the liberation from the Buddhist path is considered temporary. Because you are liberated now, but since you are a soul, and a soul is part of Krishna, and Krishna always has desires, there could be one desire, maybe million eons, 10 million years from today. And because you don't have training in the Krishna culture, your desires will drag you down to the material culture. And you may say, well, so what? Like this American joke where the woman died and her husband is giving an eulogy. And they said, my God, this people used to fight so much. What things is he going to say now? So he stood up and said, well, you all know how much Mary and I used to fight. But she was a good wife, you know. When she would be in a good mood, she would feel considerate. She would always hit me with the soft end of the mop. See how considerate she was. She wanted to hit me, but she was thinking, she would think that, okay, I have always used the hard end, but today I will use the soft end. So we need relationships, although we feel like there is a senior devotee, he passed away due to COVID complications. So he used to tell me, you know what is the full form of wife? I said, there is no full form of wife, husband. He said, no, there is. And seeing his wife was not near there, he said, worry invited forever. I said, oh, really? So I said, why did you get married then? He said, that's the problem. I cannot live without my wife, and I cannot live with my wife. See? You're all laughing, but he was. And actually, they were very good couple. When I used to ask the wife, she said, he's a good person. So once Radhanath Maharaj explained that, what if the opposite party is actually trying to please you, but you're not pleased? The philosophical understanding of that is, you want Krishna in your life. Krishna is like an ocean of relationships, mellows, humor. Compared to that, if you want an ocean to drink, let's say somebody has that kind of thirst and he wants to drink an ocean, and he gets a spoonful of water, a drop of water, maybe a glass of water. So he may say, hey, man, be satisfied. He said, no, you don't understand how much I need. So the soul is hankering, like once in a class, Maharaj said, even if you get 5 million years, your lifetime is 5 million years. From the eternity point of view, it will look like a brief flash, just gone. So therefore, we may not be as exalted as some Buddhist monks or celibate people or austere people, but at least we are on the right track. There is a danger of them losing everything, because their liberation also is temporary. But liberation in bhakti is considered permanent. So your next query is, please explain the statement, no respect given to non-devotional in fifth sandarbha. Here, I have not, as I said, I haven't read the fifth sandarbha, but when it says no respect given to non-devotees, it is connected with the asat sanga tyaga. that whenever you are performing service, stay away from non-devotee association. That's the understanding. And making friendship with the Lord, how? Well, first of all five relationships have a common foundation. Whichever bhakti you want to do, there is a common foundation. After that, you have a choice. Someone wants to serve the Lord as a servant, following the mood of Hanuman. Someone wants to follow the mood of friendship. Now, even in friendship, there are Vrindavan friends and out of Vrindavan friends. So Shridam, Sudam, Vasudam, Ujjwal, they are all friends within Vrindavan. And our Pandava Arjun, then Bhima, and then many others from Dwarka, they are considered the friends outside of Vrindavan. So would you like to read the next one also? It's also a very lengthy purport. Maybe, no, not so lengthy. Okay. So read from text 44.
If no one is ready, I will read, Prabhu.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Text 44. Gopala Champo Name Ghanta Mahashura Nitya Lila Sthapana Yahe Braja Rasa Pura. Translation: the most famous and formidable transcendental literature is the book named Gopala Champo. In this book, the eternal pastimes of the Lord are established and the transcendental mellows enjoyed in Vrindavana are completely described. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In his Anubhashya, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakura gives the following information about the Gopala Champu. The Gopala Champu is divided into two parts. The first part is called the Eastern Wave and the second part is called the Northern Wave. In the first part, there are 33 supplications in the second part, 37 supplications. In the first part, completed in 1510 Shekabda AD 1588, the following subject matters are discussed. Vrindavana and Goloka, the killing of Putana demon, the gopis returning home under the instructions of Mother Yashoda, the bathing of Lord Krishna and Balrama, Snigdha Kanta and Madhu Kanta, the dream of Yashoda, fourth, the Janmashtami ceremony, the meeting between Nanda Maharaj and Vasudeva and the killing of the Putana demon, sixth, the pastimes of awakening.
Sorry, I missed that.
The pastimes of awakening from bed, the deliverance of the demon Shataka, and the name-giving ceremony. Seven, the killing of the Trinavrata demon, Lord Krishna eating dirt, Lord Krishna childish naughtiness, and Lord Krishna as a thief. Eighth, churning of the yogurt, Krishna's drinking from the breast of Mother Yashoda, the breaking of the yogurt part, Krishna bound with ropes, the deliverance of the two brothers, Yamala Arjuna, and the lamentation of Mother Yashoda. Entering Sri Vrindavana, the killing of Bakashura and Vyomashura, the killing of Agashura and the bewilderment of Lord Balarama. 12. The tending of the cows in the forest. 13. Taking care of the cows and chastising the Kaliya serpent, the killing of Garda Bhashura, the ass demon, and the praise of Krishna, the previous attraction of the gopis, the killing of Parambashura and the eating of the forest fire, the gopis attempt to approach Krishna, the lifting of Govardhana hill. 19. Bathing Krishna with milk, the return of Nanda Maharaj from the custody of the Varuna and the vision of Goloka Vrindavana by the Gopas, the performance of the rituals in Caitanya Vrata and the worship of the goddess Durga, the begging of food from the wives of the Brahmanas performing sacrifices, the meeting of Krishna and the gopis, Krishna's enjoying the company of the gopis, the disappearance of Radha and Krishna from the scene and the search of them by the gopis, the reappearance of Krishna, the determination of the gopis, pastimes in the waters of the Yamuna, the deliverance of Nanda Maharaj from the clutches of the serpent, various pastimes in solitary places, the killing of Shankachuda and the Hori, the killing of Aristasura, the killing of the Keshi demon, the appearance of Sri Narada Muni, and a description of the year in which the book was completed. In the second part, known as Uttara Champu, the following subject matters are discussed. Attraction for Vrajabhumi, the cruel activities of Akrura, Krishna's departure for Mathura, a description of the city of Mathura, the killing of Kamsha, Nanda Maharaj's separation from Krishna and Balaram, Nanda Maharaj's entrance into the Vrindavana without Krishna and Balaram, the studies of Krishna and Balaram, how the son of the teacher of Krishna and Balaram was returned, Uddhava's visit to Vrindavana, Radharani talking with the messenger Bumblebee, the return of Uddhava from Vrindavana, the binding of Jarasandha, the killing of Yavana Jarasandha, the marriage of Balarama, the marriage of Rukmini, 7 marriages, the killing of Narakasura, the taking of the Parijata flower from the heaven, and Krishna's marriage to 16,000 princesses, victory over Banashura, a description of Balram's return to Vraja, the killing of Pondraka, the imitation of Vishnu, the killing of Vividha and thoughts of Hastinapura, departure of Kurukshetra, how the residents of Vrindavana and Dwaraka met at Kurukshetra, Krishna's consultation with Uddhava, the deliverance of the king, the performance of the Rajasuya sacrifice, the killing of Salva, Krishna's concerning return to Vrindavana, Krishna's revisiting Vrindavana, the adjustment of obstructions by Srimati Radharani and others, everything completed. The residence of Radha and Madhava, decorating Srimati Radharani and Krishna, the marriage ceremony of Srimati Radharani and Krishna, the meeting of Srimati Radharani and Krishna, and the entering Goloka. Text 45.
So we will stop here because now Krishna's Karan Goswami is changing the subject about Mahaprabhu in Puri, so that we'll see next time. Any comments, questions today?
Prabhuji, last sentences will Krishna revisited Vrindavana and everything. Where can we read, Prabhu? Those pastimes, marrying Radha and.
I knew you would ask the question. Okay. So, Krishna's love with the gopis is not like a boy trying to find a girl. Oh, I met her in the library or at the Walmart and we fell in love. No. Krishna loving the gopis is like, I am massaging my head. You may say, how is that? This is my limb. My hand is a limb of part of my body. The part of my body is serving the body. Nothing unnatural about that. Is it not? You might massage your face, you might scratch your back. So it is, you're all one. We, however, are cut off from Krishna spiritually. Otherwise, we depend totally on him for our food, clothing, shelter, water, sunshine, air, everything. But just like a person in a jail is cut off from the civilized society, so that's how we are cut off. So Krishna in Vrindavan, the love is characterized as, oh, we cannot see Krishna. Krishna is someone not born in our family relations or whatever. There is a fear of society. There is a fear that this love can become exposed. And this fear causes a kind of sweetness. There is a risk involved in coming to meet Krishna. But in Dwarka, the queens are married to Krishna. So they see him every day. There is no question of them losing Krishna. So the fear of elders and the fear of society exposing their love, that is called paramour love. And the gopis relished that more than anything else. But during Jiva Goswami's time, there were people who were committing big blunders. So if Krishna can have paramour affairs with others' wives, why can't I? So see the problem. Illicit love is the highest in the material world and is the lowest in the spiritual world. It is considered the biggest offense in the material world, but it is considered the highest development of spirituality in the spiritual world. Just to balance that, Jiva Goswami wrote about these things of Krishna marrying Radha and Krishna returning to Vrindavan. Because people feel that, oh, Krishna lives in Vrindavan, never comes back. I don't want to go into a relationship where eternally he is out. So no, he said no. Krishna did return. So there are some things which are used by Jiva Goswami to balance things off. That's the idea of. He wrote the pastime of Krishna marrying Radharani in Bhandirvan. Bhandirvan is a very special forest of Vrindavan. So small Krishna, 10-year-olds, and small Radharani, 9-year-old, they came there. And Krishna's eternal potency, Yoga Maya, she transformed them into adults. Then they got married. Brahmaji came and he got them married. And then Brahmaji and others, they left. And again they became children. So that's how it is described.
Yes, Prabhuji, very inconceivable.
Yeah, of course, inconceivable
Yes,
to the maximum.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you all very much. Vansha kalpataru